So I went on Twitter and I said, streamers, comment with the best pick of you. Making a video where I create a starting soon screen using a picture. We'll pick a couple. Good luck. And that's the video you're watching right now. I ended up picking 4 of them and I made 4 animated starting soon screens. So what I want to do is show you the original and basically go through the process of my inspiration in order to create what I did create. This is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to do motion design or graphic design, but I'm going to try to show you the layers and my thought process. But before we start, I have 2 things that I actually want to tell you. One is that this is what I call a community type of video. It is something that I've done in the past, but I've realized that they don't usually do as well as my other videos like tutorials. And it's kind of discouraging because my whole goal is to actually help the live streaming community. And in those videos, what I do is showcase live streamers to the thousands of viewers that watch my videos. Or in this case, I'm actually taking the time to create custom-made graphic and motion design for them. I guess what I'm trying to say is please share this video so I can make more of them. And the second thing I want to say is our sponsored message. Then we can talk about how I created those 4 starting soon screens. Hey you, are you looking for emotes? Then you need to check out Own's Emote Maker. Check this out. In a couple of clicks, I create one character and then Own generates the rest. All you gotta do is go to own.gg/gal level, hover over sub emote in badges and click emote maker. So try it out. That is own3d.gg/gal level. Okay, so first thing you need to know is that 156 people participated in this, and it was very difficult for me to pick. And if this video does well, honestly, I might just continue making more out of the bunch that is here. I should probably lock it so that no one else can participate, but hey, you know what? Go ahead and throw your picture in there if you want to. And while you're at it, follow me on Twitter. We really had some like studio level photos. We had some webcam photos, some phone photos, overall a bunch of awesome photos. First one I picked was from Sachi, which is a cosplayer that I actually follow on social media. So it was cool to see her post a picture there. And what we have here is this picture. It is in portrait mode. And we are going to be working on a canvas that is landscape because 1080p starting soon screen. So I had to deal with that. Let's open up the Photoshop file and I'm going to show you everything I did with it. So first thing was obviously like scaling and choosing a placement for it. What I really wanted to do also is to change the background a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of, I used to be a portrait photographer and I'm not a huge fan of the color green. So every time I have a picture that has like a landscape, a green landscape in the background, I always do my best to basically get rid of the green. Another thing that I wanted to do here is that I wanted to do some dodging and burning. Basically, I wanted to emphasize the highlights and shadows, aka Photoshop contouring, if you will. So here we will have, that's the highlights. As you can see, I just accentuate where there's already stuff, but like it might feel kind of like airbrush because I'm using like an actual Photoshop brush. And then those are the shadows just to really give it more depth. Basically, it's something that you use in photo retouching in general. And then on the right side, I basically duplicated it, and this one doesn't have any dodging and burning. That's because it's gonna be blurred. Then here I added an extra glow. I don't know if you can see that really well, but basically I felt like this color is like pure white on the original photo, so I don't have enough data to do anything with it. So I was like, okay, it's got to be glowing if it's that bright. And I added some around the hair. Then I changed the colors. Okay, hue saturation, boom, just pick the color green and then switch the hue here. As you can see, I went there, went to green, and you can see I bumped it up plus 98. And then here I just added a color balance. So I went on the shadows, I went on the midtones. Well, I didn't do anything to the shadows. Midtones, I played around with which colors I want. It is kind of like a way of switching up the color balance just a little bit. And it basically allowed me to get rid of more green. For the background, I just duplicated it and made it transparent. Let me just put that there. And for the total background, I went on her channel and I actually saw that she already had some sort of a color scheme, which is something that I ended up doing for everyone else. I went to your channels, I went to all of your platforms actually, just to figure out which platforms are your main platforms, so the ones that I should put the emphasis on, but also if you already have a color scheme, if you have a preferred color, that was my way of figuring that out. And I saw that gradient there from a deep purple to a lighter purple, so I decided to go with that. Boom, so background is just blurry with that gradient purple. I went with a frame here with a little bit of a shadow to get more depth. And then I started blocking out places that I wanted specific things to be. There I added basically the same picture but blurred out. It's like creating a foggy window effect. And then here I would add my text like starting soon and stuff like that again. And then boom, for this I went for, I initially wanted to keep it for chat, but since it was wide, it didn't make any sense. I was like, you know what, this is where I'm gonna put the social media. And since she's a cosplayer, it was pretty easy to make it look better than like a normal like social media bar. Just pick a bunch of pictures. I picked out those pictures from Instagram, and they ended up looking like that, which I really like. For the starting soon, I just added the text. Boom, there you go. I went with the NASA kind of looking font because I saw all of the planets and then the moon and then the stars, so I wanted to keep it kind of on brand. Once I was done with the Photoshop file, I brought it into Adobe After Effects, where I wanted to add just a little bit more details, and the goal here was to actually get a couple of things to move, but not too much. I went and created clouds. This is, believe it or not, this is a cloud simulation. It's not really a simulation. That was manually animated by me. And basically I created this so I can put them in the corners behind the main frame. All the animations are 60 FPS. I just used that, duplicated it, and you can see it in both corners basically. Another thing that I did is I created a particle simulator. This one is a real actual simulator. So right behind her, it creates like a little bit of sparks. Since she's already glowing, I thought, hey, maybe that's a good idea. And as you can see, the background is moving. Now I masked out certain parts so that not everything is moving, but basically I kind of wanted to go with that Midsommar kind of effect. Is that how you pronounce Midsommar? That movie by Ari Aster. And I think I did a pretty good job. It slightly moves just for you to catch it after looking at it for maybe 5 seconds. And that was basically the main animation plus the clouds. Top left, I added some stars. They randomly move and also glow. And that's it. We end up with that kind of animation as a starting soon. When you add it to OBS or whatever broadcasting software you're using, you're just gonna check the loop little box and it will loop in itself perfectly. And there you go. That's how you make a starting soon screen animated and look like this from a photo. All right, second one that I picked is from Lizard Gaming, which I really enjoyed those photos. I really wanted to go with this one at first because I could just put it on a black background. It will blend perfectly. That one was pretty cool, but kind of low quality. And then I saw that one. Wait, a doggo. Wait, I had to pick this. I just had to pick it. There's also that one, but this is already a full made montage. So that one I just had to do. All right, so the first thing I did is basically find a background that would kind of match the picture. Here we have a background. I basically color picked some of the background colors, and then I actually needed it to blend into the background seamlessly and in a certain way. One way I did that is I went and found some trees and I used them as brushes in order to mask out the picture. So we ended up with that result of a mask. Enable it. And as you can see, this feels more natural. It blends in a little bit smoother. If we look at the mask, this is what it looks like. It took a while, a bunch of different brushes. This is like grass brushes. You can see a couple of them there. And then the rest is just those trees. All right, then we add a curve to basically do a little bit of color correction. Basically, I wanted to bring back a little bit of blue just to really match that background color. And then levels to bring up the contrast. The original picture has low contrast, so I wanted to do something about it. Then here I add 2 lines. I want to make sure you guys can see everything I'm showing. Let me not block this with my face. I still wanted to keep it low contrast because this feels like a movie poster or something like very serious. And so I added those 2 lines just to block out where I would put kind of like the title and stuff. I ended up adding some overall grungy textures. One that is kind of low contrast, low opacity, one high opacity. Then I added some snow behind him. And here I have a full folder. Like I wanted to do this, but then I remembered, hey, I want it to be animated. So there's no point of me putting that. If this was static, it would have looked cool, but it's not. And then here I have the text, and the text is basically something that I kind of had to learn how to create this type of text. I wanted it to be kind of medieval. I wanted it to feel like a movie poster, and I wanted it to look pretty good. Not necessarily like photorealistic, but at least kind of 3D without using any 3D software. So I added all of those layers to make that happen. And as you can see, the starting soon screen here, I'm adding like every little shadow, every little highlight is 1 layer per layer, right? And I mostly did this, by the way, by using the bevel and emboss effect in Photoshop. So this was done 100% in Photoshop, right? So this is what we're working with here. There you go. But I didn't mess that up. And then I added a little message so it would really feel like movie poster like. And then the socials at the bottom, boom, boom, boom. And there you go. It's that simple. In the end, I added an extra levels adjustment layer just to blend everything in together to add one last shot of contrast. And it turns out that this is really on brand because when we go to their channel, we can find this kind of Viking-ish, medieval-ish type of design. So I think it's gonna fit perfectly. Again, I went into every social just to make sure that I know which platforms are important. Also to check out that the social media handles are correct. Now let's take a look at how I animated it. Since the design was already pretty clean, I didn't want to make it too much. So what I just added is a little bit of snow, way less than what I added in Photoshop basically. And this is what it looks like. It's multiple layers of snow. And if you look closer over the text, there's a little bit of smoke going in and out. Again, this actually loops perfectly into itself, so people watching it shouldn't easily, it's not gonna jump back to the beginning, it's just gonna loop in. Let's see the final result. Wait, hold up. Okay, I have one frame where the snow actually turns off, but I'm gonna fix that when I send it to you. All right, let's check out the next one. Next one is from this guy right here, which if we go to the bio, it says model, actor, musician. Probably one of the most professional pictures that we have. So I picked it, but it's difficult when you have a high quality picture like that to just, throw in a couple of things together to make it look still professional. I checked the link tree to figure out which platforms were the main platforms, basically the ones where there's the most followers. And apparently TikTok was the most followed one, 39.8K. But of course, we're making the starting soon screen for Twitch, and we can see that it's not that customized, so it was kind of hard. I couldn't find any color scheme or any graphic design style, so I had to just completely improvise basically. So again, we are working with a portrait picture, so we have to size it up and find out what to do. Basically, I decided to put it in the middle here. Background, I went with this gradient just because it kind of matches the sky behind here. And then the next step was to add some shapes and cut him out basically of the background like this. So if I turn this off, boom, and that's like one click with Photoshop. Added that triangle behind him, and then I actually ended up adding the same background within that triangle, right? Wanted to create like an coming out of the picture effect. But you're gonna see the colors that I chose weren't really matching with the background with the green. I really disliked the color green in photos, so boom, I had to make it black and white, and I actually created a pretty good contrast, not like highlight and shadow, not just highlight and shadow contrast, but color contrast is something that is also important. It creates more emphasis on the only thing on screen that is in color, and that's Ben. Right, boom. You're not seeing it, but like I have a couple of layers there, and I'm gonna show you why I decided to cut him out completely, and then why I have two layers of the background. Actually, let me show you real quick. So I have this layer of the background, which doesn't have him at all. So I had to go ahead and basically fill this so that I can have a blank canvas, and you're gonna see why. Boom. So I went with I wanted to go with some sort of a V shape. I put him on the left side, blurry. This is kind of like the easy button for graphic design. You take your subject, you make it blurry, you make it big, and you put it like 2% opacity. Boom, left side, right side, we do the same thing. And then for the text, very easy, very professional picture. Let's go with something classy. Let's go with something super simple, with a large tracking, basically a lot of space in between the letters, and boom, boom. This looks like a perfume commercial. I put the actual Twitch name, which is saucegodink. And then it was time to put the social media. Again, TikTok was the most important one, so I put that one, and I saw that Twitter has also a couple thousand followers, so I put that one too, and nothing else. And then once I was there, I was like, okay, it's good, it's clean, but I want to make it animated, so it's probably gonna have more complicated stuff. Maybe I should add a couple of decoration. It's too clean. Let's put some fake glitch random rectangle shapes, right? We're still staying sharp, boom. And this is what I came up with. And this was literally made by adding a bunch of lines, creating a bunch of rectangular masks, and filling them in. Now I was there. I was pretty proud of this. Like, this looks really good, but how do I animate that? Let's find out. Now, as much as I like that gradient background, I knew that if I wanted to keep it simple, maybe the background was the only thing that should be moving in this. So I went ahead and I found some time-lapse footage of a sunset or a sunrise, one of those, probably sunrise. And I just placed it in the background. So this is what it looks like. And there's three things actually you should be on the lookout for. But first thing you'll notice is that it loops perfectly in itself. Right, it's gonna end and boom, you cannot see the transition, right? It's just the sun going up and down basically. And then there's a little bit of film dust on it, and I think I like the idea since Ben here is an actual actor, so I think that actually fits. And then the other issue that I came with is here, because you can't just add a background and expect it to match. So what I had to do is actually add a custom glow. I don't know if I'm gonna find a layer. There's so many layers. I don't know if you guys realize just how many layers are in there. But basically I had to find a glow that basically affects everything. As you can see on the right side here, it's kind of like spilling out to really give that effect. Even on his face, oh, it's a top layer. If I turn this off, you can see the difference. And this is actually animated to basically get the glow going once the sun is at its peak, and then it will animate out basically, right? So even though there's still something bright here, it's not spilling out anymore. You can see on the face, we get more of that color, which fits pretty well. Like I prefer those warmer colors than the green that was in the background. And that's pretty much it. Sunset, a glow. One thing that I did that might not be visible, I don't know if you catch it, he's actually moving his shoulders. And the way I did that is I used the puppet pin tool, puppet position pin tool. If I go there to deform, and as you can see, I placed a bunch of basically puppet pins. And this allows me to move my mesh in a way that I want. I try to go with like kind of like a skeleton type. I wanted to move the head, which is why I actually had this background filled out. Because when I was moving the head, the other layer of him basically was showing through, and I didn't want that. So I had to go ahead and really fill that background so that there's nothing when he moves. But then moving the head was weird. I couldn't get the neck to move properly. So I decided, why not just make him, you know, kind of like he was breathing. But I made it so subtle that it's barely visible unless you go really fast. But he's alive. He's breathing, right? You can see that. Anyways, little subtle details that I just like to add. Let's see the final product. And here it is. Loops within itself perfectly. Glows, and the shoulders move a little bit, just a little bit. So of course, to all of those starting soon screens, what you can do is add like a counter. If you want to put chat, for example, bottom right, there's an empty space here. You can put chat there, basically to keep it still active for the people who are waiting for you to start. If you have something like a social bar, you can put that at the bottom here to thank your new followers and all of that. They're still customizable. You can still add stuff on top of that. Anyways, let's check out the last one. This one I really enjoyed. It's from Puhlusion. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but basically I really love that image. The smiling, the energy, it's very dynamic. It almost looks like a stock photo for a gamer, you know? Someone even commented saying that they thought it was an ad. This is like ad worthy. Let's see what I did with it. Just like everyone else, I went on the link tree, so it's super important for you to have all of your links on your Twitter. I checked out their TikTok, their YouTube, and their Twitch, and one thing that struck me was the banner. So there is some quote-unquote professionally made artwork on this channel already, which got me excited because I love especially helping people who already really have a foot in, basically that are really trying their best and care about their brand. So seeing that the color green was part of the color scheme is actually beneficial for me because the main color here is green. So if I have to cut him out, I don't have to do anything wild in order to make him match. So here's what I did. It is a portrait image, so I scaled, put it in place, and then I had to get rid of the background, which I did. Boom. So now, as you can see, what I was talking about is how much green actually spills into the mask. Not an issue. So the first thing I did is basically go back with a brush and create a manual glow. So I had to basically draw out that glow just to put more emphasis on places where the green was. For example, the forehead doesn't have a lot of green, but like the chair has a ton of green. So there will be more glow on this side than needs to be over there. Another issue that I had was the hand is cut out, right? So I have to put something on top of that to basically hide the fact that it doesn't extend. Now the photo is not as detailed that I thought, so what I did is kind of like add an effect that would basically fake details and kind of give it like sort of a comic book feel. I created outlines basically, and I just added that. I don't even know if you can see. But basically, if you look at here, you're gonna see extra contrast due to just adding outlines. If I turn all of those off, there you go. So this is the mask that I created, and this goes on top of the picture and creates a better image in a way. Not only creates contrast, but also it sharpens the image at least. Then of course I had to color correct it. If I had more time, if I took more time, what I would do is basically go ahead and dodge and burn it in order to emphasis on the highlight, the depth, just like I did with Sachi. But I didn't have any time, unfortunately. So I just went ahead and I lowered the opacity because it was slightly overexposed, just so we can bring some details back. For example, in the mouth, you can see like we're getting very bright. Here is like more balance. We're getting more skin tones here. And then something that was kind of difficult for me was to extract the logo. So I took this banner, I literally took a screenshot of the banner, and I had to actually go ahead and cut out the logo out of it, which I managed to do. I don't have anything to show you like the background because I merged down everything, but basically here it is. Now I had the logo, and since the logo looks really cool, it can be like the most prevalent thing on screen. It can be like the attention grabber of the screen. So anything I did next wouldn't really matter. This already looks pretty cool. I just have to do something to block the hand, which I came up with a rectangle that kind of have a similar graphic style as the logo. So we have that bevel emboss that is mint color. We have the gradient, we have the shadow. And what I ended up doing is putting the text inside of there. Nice. So it says stream will begin shortly. I wanted to change up the text a little bit because starting soon is what you see everywhere. So for this one, I don't know. I was like, hey, I don't want to put starting soon, right? And the only thing that was left here was the social. Nice. So I went with like a more stylish. I made sure that Puhlusion was the name on those 3 platforms, and it was. So I only have to add it once. So at Puhlusion on Twitter, on YouTube, and also on TikTok, which is really nice. Fun fact, their name is not at Puhlusion on Twitch. Their name is Puhlusionlol on Twitch. So thank God we're doing this for Twitch, so you don't have to put Twitch in there. All right, and then right before I stopped, I went ahead and just added a little bit of glow just to emphasis on that color. One thing that I kind of messed up is that I didn't take into account the purple as much. I think I should have added more purple, but thank God we were gonna put this in Adobe After Effects, and we have more chances basically to add some purple. Okay, again here we have a we have a ton of layers, but a lot of it is basically stock footage from multiple things. One of the things I wanted to do is a little pulsing glow. If I press U here, I'm gonna see my keyframes, and basically on him, I added that pulsating glow. In the background, you can see the purple embers, sparks and embers, and I also added a glow over there. Really short little glow, right? So we have embers in the background. What else do we have? I found a stock footage basically because I saw some arrows in the banner. I kind of rushed this one, I'm not gonna lie, but I saw some arrows here and I thought, okay, I just need some like graphic design, motion design basically of arrows moving and something like that, and maybe it will be a good recall to that. So we have some in the background that are purple, but I also added some that were green. So top is gonna be green, bottom is gonna be purple. So it fills out a little bit well. There's more, well, I say green or mint or teal, whatever you wanna call it. I should have put more purple, but I think it looks pretty good just like that. My problem is that only the background with a little bit of glow wasn't enough, so I decided to do more. And as you can see here, I have a mask, and that mask is basically moving, so I can have one of those shining effects on that little square right there, and it goes through. Boom, just like that. That's just the mask with a glow on an adjustment layer, just going through, just animated, and it goes out, boom. Easy. Another thing I wanted is to actually animate a little bit of the logo, because the logo again is our main piece. It's the most impressive thing on screen. So I went ahead and used Video Copilot's Saber. If you use After Effects, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's basically a plugin that you can use to make like lightsabers, and it has a bunch of presets right there. And the effect is pretty simple. It's kind of fiery, kind of electricity-y, and it goes like that basically for the whole thing. Cool thing with Saber is that you don't necessarily have to animate it with keyframes. You can just put a distortion amount and it basically will play that animation. One thing I had to do is auto trace it and create basically a mask for everything. You don't need to know all that. Watch a tutorial on how to use Saber if you're interested. Oh, there's also a light leak that I added just to add more dynamic to it. And it's basically one of those effects that you'll have with a camera if there's a very bright light that passes by or something. It goes in and then it goes out. But let's watch the complete result. And there it is. It should be a perfect loop if I didn't mess up anything. And I believe it is because I can't figure out when it starts and when it stops. So there it is. As you can see, the purple in the background, I actually rendered it without purple, and last second I ended up adding the purple because I was like, no, it's part of the color scheme. I need to respect the color scheme. I really like the little animation on the logo. I think it looks pretty good. And hopefully you guys like all of those. So for the people I selected, make sure you keep an eye on your DMs. I will be sending them to you. They are video files. Just add them in your OBS or any broadcasting software as a media source, click loop, and then you're good to go. I'd like to once again ask you to basically share this video, especially with your streamer friends. If you want to add your picture to the tweet, find it and then add your picture. And again, if this video does well, I will be picking more people from that pool of pictures, and I will be creating more animated starting soon screens. Let me know which one was your favorite, and show some love to the streamers. I'm gonna put a link to all of their live streams in the description. Make sure you check them out and show some support. Other than that, I really enjoy making those videos where the community is involved. And if you like that type of video, I suggest you check out this video that I did for New Year's resolution a couple years ago. And some of those streamers, I'm still friends with them to this day. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Go out there, make me proud, get level, out.